You are watching Reddit. Wow. Please to help me out, like, subscribe and turn on notifications. Has someone ever challenged you to something that they didn't know who are an expert at? If so, how did it turn out for you them? Mine's kind of dumb, but I think it still counts. At work I'm kind of the Google Sheets expert and I make lots of tools for different departments to use. Enter new guy who needed to collect, aggregate and display a bunch of data. My boss was like, send Wish a calendar invite so you can tell her what you want and she'll set it up for you. New guy was having none of that and insisted he was going to do it himself. Well, a week later, he finally has this shitty sheet that doesn't have half the information we need, and we have to have the numbers for the state by tomorrow. So my boss asks me to fix it and new guy is like, yeah, okay, that's not really possible. This is as good as it's going to get. 2 hours later, I send them both a fully functional and automated sheet that does everything we need, and we'll be able to use it indefinitely, which means next time, and every time, the stupid state report is due, it will already be done. New guy was like, I would have added that in if I'd had more time. I once challenged a girl who was a friend to football, not knowing she grew up with a table in her house and older brothers. I even, jokingly, put money on the game. Well, I learned a bit about humility that night. The icing on the cake was when she drove me to an ATM to get her the money. That's a brutal finishing move. In a few years that'll be my daughter. She kills everyone her age but I can still win against her one-handed. A buddy mine was at a concert in bad seats and started complaining about it via Twitter. All of a sudden the band starts reading some tweets and calls my friend up to sit on stage for a couple songs. They sit him at the piano and during the next song, they jokingly go okay piano solo. The crowd laughs for a second but then my buddy just starts jamming out as he plays piano in his band. Talk about dream moment, getting to play with your favorite band. Reminds me of an awesome YouTube video from a couple years back. In a Keith Urban concert, this young dude gets called up on stage since his GF was holding up a sign saying it's his birthday wish to play guitar with Keith. For those that don't know, KU is an amazing guitar player. Anyway, the dude gets up there and Keith hands him his guitar. Pretty much everyone expecting either a choke job or a mediocre attempt. But the dude proceeds to freaking shred. Keith was like WTF. And he immediately calls back the band, who had just gone on break, and they play the full song with the dude owning the all parts including the solo. Just an amazing gotcha moment. In front of provably 15k people. My office announced a laser tag team building event 2 weeks after I played in the laser tag Ultrazone National Championships, which were an actual thing in 1997. Edit. Sigh. No, this is not a him reference, which I have to specify every fucking time I talk about it. I was never of any competitive laser tag level. However, my family used to stay at this hotel resort thing every year around Christmas and part of the package was wristbands for unlimited laser tag. My sister and I would go down when they opened in the morning and play until they closed at night. We learned the ins and outs of that room so well and got to competing on various things like who could keep their accuracy highest. My favorite was a challenge to only knife people. You could only shoot someone if you place your gun against their vest. We weren't amazing but it was always fun to get a big group of kids come in and talk trash, so we would offer to 2vx them and just absolutely destroy them. I did this bit to my stepson. I'm not big on reliving past glories to my kids, but I was on a Laser Quest national team in the 90s and so friends set up a Laser Quest and I started smack talking to him in heat about how I was going to mop the floor with him. He laughed and was like, yeah right old man. We get there and we go in and play and I'm not trying that hard, but my favorite thing to do always has been and always will be breaking up the people that team up, cause it's supposed to be a solo game. So what I do is get in the middle of them and after a few times of them all being shot they usually split up or leave. We get out of the game and not only am I in first place but I have double that of second place, who was one of the other parents in our group. Look on the kid's face was priceless. When working as a teacher I beat a lot of students in Pokemon battles, cause they didn't think of me being like 15 years ahead of them in fighting experience. noobs. This is how I trounce my younger siblings at Smash Bros. Every game really. Fucking teenagers. Think they're hot shit. No way their old ass big bro is gonna beat them this time. I have been playing since you were a baby. Oh, you got a new game. Cool. I played something a lot like it on a PlayStation with potato graphics. Get wrecked. Ugh, my little nephew is such a shit, bragging about how good he is at Smash Brothers. He challenged me to a 1v1, and I stomped him as Jigglypuff. He still brags, just not to me anymore. Yeah, my friend's 8 years old son was trying to challenge to Smash all the time on the Switch. When I finally agreed, my friend leaned over and said don't take it easy on him, and I destroyed him with young Link in the pink outfit. I don't even think he got a hit in once in 3 stock. Not me, but my brother and Amp, best friend. We were in Baltimore for a baseball weekend in 2009 and hanging out at a bar across from Camden Yards. They had a Silver Strike bowling video game. At our local bar back in Boston we had one as well. I'm decent at the game, but my brother and buddy were fucking amazing at this game. Bowling 300 games and whatnot. So 2 dudes are playing this game and drinking. We ask them if we can play when they are done. They ask if we want to play them. We said sure. My brother and buddy destroy these guys. Like it wasn't even close. These dudes said it was a fluke and they wanted a rematch, but this time for a round of beers. Again, Annihilation City. But they kept wanting to play, to eventually win a game. No lie, after 13 rounds of beers they finally gave up. They were great guys. We saw them the next day at the same bar and they walked up to us with beers in hand already and said rematch. To this day we still hang out with them whenever we go to Baltimore. And to this day, they have never won. Edit for details. The guys were buying 2 beers each time they lost a game to the 2 guys they lost to, for my brother and friend. The beers were Natty Bob, which is Baltimore's cheap gross awesome beer. I can't remember the price, but they were under $2 a piece back then. They would buy the beers and they'd just start piling up on the table next to the machine, so we were all just drinking them. I'd say around 25-30 beers between the 5 of us in 4 or 5 hours. Tab was probably $60-ish for beers, but we were there all night getting wings and a million apps, so we all just paid the tab anyways. Not a physical challenge, but I sell building materials for a living. Think Home Depot, but for guys that build skyscrapers and stadiums. There has been many occasions where an old man with zero construction knowledge tries to lecture me on what I do for a living. My favorite, I'm going to get my lawyer to talk to you because you clearly don't know what you're talking about. Cool. So you'll pay someone to call me, so I can read a contract provision off the screen. Which I'm doing for you for free right now. Whatever, dude. While I'd never claim I was an expert, I used to be pretty damn good at pool. My aunt and uncle had a pool table downstairs and my parents, for a variety of reasons, would go over regularly and spend all day there. There was nothing else for us, me and my brother, to do, so we just played pool all day for years. Eventually we got bored and saw that he had a book on trick shots, so we started doing that for fun. Never really mastered them, but they made for really good practice in understanding how to get the ball to do what you want. So anyway, for my buddy's 20th birthday he wanted to go to the pool hall and invited a ton of people. Then he told it was going to be a tournament, drinks for individual games, and a 50/50 type of deal for the winner. He gets half regardless because it was his birthday. Insisted I come and I caved eventually. Get there, first game, they break, and that was the only shot they got. Rest of mine were pretty similar. At the end I just looked at him, told you not to invite me. Found out after that a bunch of them had never even played pool before. Felt pretty bad, so I took the money and bought everyone drinks with it. A neighbor on my block in Brooklyn challenged me to a pizza bake-off. I recently catered pizza for my daughter's school and word got around the neighborhood my pizza was pretty darn good. My first thought was, this guy is a Brooklyn native, my pizza will be shite compared to his, but there was something about him bragging that I couldn't resist the challenge. He talked up how pizza was in his blood, how his dad ran the pizza place around the corner years ago. I remained silent and let my skills answer for themselves. I got a buddy to let us use one of Baker's Pride ovens at his restaurant. We even had total strangers try our pizzas. Every last person chose my pizza over his. I never mentioned to him that I've worked in pizza places almost every day for the last 30 years. I never mentioned that when I'm not working at a pizza place I'm making pizzas at home at least once every 2 days. I never mentioned that at 9 years old I knew that I wanted to be a pizza man. Here I am 45 and getting ready to start my own pizza business.